Okay, welcome to this Tuesday morning live stream. And today we're going to continue our discussion, a little bit of preparing ourselves for the new Logic Pro update, maybe in a roundabout way. If you're watching this later, I don't want any of these videos to feel like clickbait or misleading. I want to be really upfront. This is a video where we're going to look at some of the resources inside Logic, but talk about how this third-party tool, Audimee, can actually help with it. And this is one of those vocal tools that's been around for a little bit. I would say we've had all of this influx of, AI and vocal changing tools and all kinds of stuff on the market. But Audimee's been around for a few minutes longer than some of these other companies. And we're going to be looking at the good, the bad, the pretty, the ugly, but I do feel like this is one of those things that could really be useful when we're looking at some of the Apple Logic Pro resources that we have. So let me talk a little bit about how I came to this, because I was, trying to think of some of the new things about Logic that we know. One of the new things about Logic that we know is that we're getting the new sound library window. And that's a tool that's going to bring us closer in line to the iPad version of Logic, and hopefully means that we'll get updated content on a regular basis. But here's what we also know, that our sound packs are what we are calling our loop library in Logic Pro is full of some interesting things. Some of the recent sound packs and things that have been added are good, are decent. Some of them are great, but we have a lot of crap in there. Stuff that is just old and decrepit and maybe somewhat useless in many ways. I'm just going to speak truth, right? Not everything in our Apple Loop library is good quality. That doesn't mean we can't use it for good things, but some of it takes some effort. I've done videos in the past about, how we can use Beat Breaker to revitalize some of the drums and percussion we have in there. We have the ability to drag these things out and make them a quick sampler or a drum machine designer or sample alchemy or even a sampler. And so we have some options already, but this really occurred to me over the weekend. I was thinking, how could we revitalize some of these ones that maybe are the worst of the worst? So I will say there's already a comment in the chat about Logic Pro 12. It's not actually announced as 12. It could be Logic Pro 26. It could be Logic Pro 11.3. But there are a number of people online who are calling it 12. And so we'll call it 12 for the moment, and then we'll see what they actually call it next week when it's released. I'm just going to take the heat, and maybe we're misjudging what Logic has done. They've done this once before where they went up a whole version after just doing hardly anything else. But it's a big enough update with the Creator Studio that some people are saying that. Who knows? I think it'll be probably 11.3 or something else. We'll see. Anyway, we're doing stuff. We'll see. So there already going to be some comments and some stuff. Handle the chat yourselves for a couple minutes. I want to make this demonstration right at the beginning because I do think it's interesting to know of some of the other tools that we can use with this. This is not a tool that's tied into Logic directly. Here, let me get rid of those files. But it's a web-based tool, Audimee, and I'll be talking a little bit about it. But I'm just going to show you first in our Apple Loops. We have all these vocals. I mean, there's so many of them, hundreds probably, like Jesse Lyric, Jesse Improv, Jesse Melody, and with a bunch of different names. These came they've been in here for a long time. This is a perfect example of something that are old loops that we can repurpose in new ways, with new voices. So I'm just going to take Jesse's lyric for a second. Let's pop it out here. And
Ooh, oh baby, yeah.
so this is a royalty-free loop that we've access to. I'm curious if anybody has ever used it and has ever even known that this is in the loops. I don't know, probably not too much. But I'm going to drag it out to the desktop. You can just drag it straight from the timeline to the desktop. And then I'm going to come over into Audimee. Now, this is a service that you have to pay for. It's not like a free service. There are very few of these out there that do what Audimee does to the same extent, which is why I'm focusing on it. This isn't like a sponsored type situation, but I did talk to Audimee, and I am going to be doing a couple videos, but only, as you know, many of you have seen me talk about how I don't do videos for a lot of companies. This is one that I really like what they do. There are some downsides to it, but I really like the options they've added. So that's why we're talking about it today. And we're going to go into the convert. We're just going to do a simple conversion, meaning I'm just going to convert this Apple loop from one voice to another. That's all I want to do today at this first part of this. So I drag it on here. This was the part that kind of blew me away for anyone who's doing some vocal production, maybe, and I'll show you a demonstration with my own voice and a rough demo later. But it has this whole pitch, vibrato, drift, and engine in here. It's like the full auto-tune kind of functionality. And so if you were like bringing in your own voice and it's not great, which is the case with my voice, I don't know what it is with my voice. I think sometimes I do too much on the fly, meaning I'm doing songwriting streams or something where I don't have the melody practiced and rehearsed. And in those cases, I find it very hard to keep pitch because it's like I can't even remember what note I'm doing. And so this could be another tool to do it. I think in some ways this competes and is perhaps even better than the flex pitch options. It's similar in functionality though. So we're just going to come up here now, switch this to a different voice. And this is where perhaps this has got the advantage over a lot of people. I mean, these are all the voices that you have access to. So we'll just pull out, let's see, this one. I'm not going to have this do any sort of changes for this first one. We could do a D vibrato, which makes it more laser-like, and we can have the pitch correction engage, which if you go all the way, it would sound auto-tuned. We could do conversion strength and pitch shifting. The conversion strength, I actually have messed with a couple times. This one really allows you to balance the original versus the new one. So we're going to go 50-50. You can also do isolation, which we don't need to in this case, but we're not removing instrumental or background vocals or reverb and echo or noise. These are pretty clean loops. So we just do convert. You'll see the little progress meter here. Man, Shred is definitely commenting a few things. So as we're doing this, couple things. ARA is not expected in this update. I'll just say that in response to all the comments. it is expected at some point, I'm guessing before 2027, when or later this year even, whenever Rosetta goes away, I think is the goal to have that done. Okay, let's download this file and then we're just going to drag it in. Okay, so here I'm going to change the overall level just to match a little bit closer to the original one. So let me let you hear the Jesse lyric again.
Ooh, oh, baby.
And then I'll switch it to the new one from Gemma.
Ooh, oh, baby. Oh, baby, yeah.
So now we have this great way. It sounds good. That's one thing I'm impressed with. Every once in a while, you do hear artifacts. I mean, but the time it took to make this, drag it on, audition, do the export. It's a short clip. I'll do a longer one in just a minute so you can see that too. But all of a sudden, we have the same melodic content, but with a different voice. And we can make this a male voice. We can change the range, all of that stuff. I think it's good to have some tools like this that do it at such high quality. Because one, we're going to be able to go through, perhaps finally use some of these Apple loops that maybe we'd never even consider using. We could go into the pitch editor in Audimee and actually change some of that around if we want to do it in a different key. Of course, we can do some of that in Logic too, but the question is which one of them sounds better. And so I think that's perhaps the discussion. I think right now, in some ways, Logic is behind the curve on some of that type of functionality, where Audimee is really hungry to make theirs better and better and better. And so is that a tool we can use to do that? Let me show you. And Shred is saying Audimee is good for gang vocals, not main. Keep that untouched. I'm still thinking, by the way, just to be clear on this, while I'm not suggesting, let's close that. I'm not suggesting always that this would be the final vocal. A lot of times what we're talking about, there's different angles with this. One of them would be in the songwriting phase, right? You sing something, and let me make that my next demonstration for a moment. And then, so we have this little demo cut. It was at a place I was staying that had like this kind of old school upright piano, and I was just doing a little songwriting with it. So one thing I can do with this, because there's no compression or anything, it's really easy to use the stem splitter in Logic for this, because those are really, even though they don't sound great, they're clean, if that makes sense. It's a clean recording, clean piano, clean vocal, with like a stereo microphone. So they're not, they weren't recorded separately. I'm just going to do this quick stem split here. And so you'll hear the piano, for instance. I mean, that sounds like a clean piano. Here's my voice. From my heart, the melting of the world soon began to start. Not great vocals, but I was songwriting at the same time. I hate to ever use that caveat over and over, but it's true. It's like you write a song, you don't have it memorized. Once you have it memorized, then you can get the pitch. Let's pull these out. Let's see, that is the vocals. Okay, they're labeled. I'm just going to pull all of these out, but I'm also going to pull out the original one as well. Because we're going to let Audimee do that separation. We'll see if it can do the separation as good or better or the same as the other. Okay, so now we'll come back in here. A-Golf is saying, I do wish they would allow separation of multiple voices. That's got to be coming at some point. I do think there are some online services that let you do that already, not natively in Logic. But the stem splitter in Logic, I don't know if you were just listening for a moment when I did that, that was the voice and the piano, those two together, they sound great. There's very little artifacting. There's not any pumping of volume, but that's because it's not like a full-on leveled mix. It's nice and clear. Let's pull out, let's see. Well, let's do this, just all of it. Let's do the full one. And let's remove the instrumental. And let's switch voices. I have actually, there was a weird thing with the website, the Audimee site, not playing through my audio drivers for the stream. So I can hear it. I won't play too long. I just want to make sure I have the voice, but it's going to play through my computer speaker for 1 second. Maybe. Okay. We are frozen. Okay, let's reload that site. Well, let's hope the stream isn't down. Someone comment, let me know the internet didn't just go all the way down here. And I will reload Audimee. Maybe because maybe it was too big of a file. Maybe I tried to rush it. Okay. We're back. We'll try that one more time. Maybe I rushed it. I didn't think I had. Remove instrumental. Switch voice. We'll just choose the first one without even listening. I'm going to go up to, I like going up to 50%. I'm not sure. I need to test more of the percentages out, and then I'll just hit convert and see what happens. This is, like I said, a lot longer than the little loop we did before, but here's we're already at 30% done. We'll see what happens. I'm reading through some comments. Looks like you're doing a little bit. 30% stuck there for a second. Let's see how long it takes to get this all the way done. I don't know. I love real world examples though. I'd rather, jumped up to 80%. I love that, it's like there's always this temptation for me to make every video not a live stream when I'm doing some sort of demonstration, because then if it doesn't work, I can just hit stop and then I can redo it and make it look like it's perfect every time. But where's the fun in perfection? I don't think we need to have a perfect thing every time. We're at 90%. It is theoretically removing the piano and just giving us a voice, but making it Adam's voice instead of my own. So let's see. And it should bring, I didn't have it do any pitch correction. We could do another one, but I didn't tell it to do pitch correction, which means that we should be getting the out of tune version at the same time. So let's close our loop. There we go. Okay, let's pull this over, and we will mute my original voice. I can already tell the gain structure is off, so let's just pull it down a little bit.
Snow began to fall before the sun came out. Cold and sirens and up stole my breath away with nothing left to say. white as cover young as I see. It should have been pure voice was taken from my heart.
Okay, so I can definitely hear there's some issues with that. Let's do one more, and this time do just the voice brought in after I did the stem split. This is the way I do it most of the time. If I can already have it stem split out and not ask a service to do multiple things to it, then that's usually more what I want. Pitch editor. Okay, so it has to be shorter than that. So we won't be able to do the pitch editor here, but let's do a little pitch correction on it. And I don't remember what key this is in, so I'm going to just leave it no key for the moment. And convert. Okay, we'll do another conversion. Okay, cool. Let's see. How about making a fingerprint of your voice? You can do that and taking a Steely Dan song. So actually that is one of the topics I'm going to be talking about on a different video this week. I have a project that I'm doing. And I was really interested in that functionality. So what you can do is upload some samples of a voice and it will create a voice from your sample. Now I've done it already. I'm doing two projects. One is with the songwriting partner who couldn't be here and doesn't have access to a studio or anything. And so we did a duet that way. Another one is I'm taking some old cassette recordings from my mom who passed away when I was a baby. And I want to do a duet with her. And so I'm going to be doing a video this week all about that functionality. And then I think I'm going to do one other video at some point around the near future about the harmony functionality, because I honestly think there are a lot of services that do this type of voice changing. I've done some videos about Resing from IK Multimedia. It's like there's lots of services that can just do voice prints. Now this one certainly has a lot of voices. And that's great. But the harmony stuff, I think that's something that's worth maybe a standalone video, just showing how you can do the harmony stuff. Because sure, it's great to have the lead. It's great to be able to match a voice that maybe doesn't even exist anymore. But it's also interesting to be able to do that harmonic content, which not a lot of others are doing. Man, I gotta tell that to stop loading. So here's the one from the Logic Pro. Did I do the right one? Yeah, it looks right. So we're going to get rid of that. This is a more real world example in some ways. However, you heard the original that I was showing you. This is not a great recording. So we're towards the boundary of what's possible with this. We're at the edge of Audimee. Best case is always to have a good recording, nice clean vocal in a quiet, acoustically treated space, not to do this in like a living room with an old piano. Here's the original. So we're not saying this is a miracle worker that all of a sudden can do things that are beyond the realm of reasonable, but we are certainly seeing what it can do.
Snow began to fall before the sun came up. Cold inside our bones was hidden up. Stole my breath away with nothing left to say. The white has covered up the things I see. What should have been pure joy was taken from my heart. The melting of the world soon began to start. What should have been our everything, a shadow in control. The daylight comes along, shattering my soul. The weight upon the ground, soft with zero sound, covers up the sorrows that we found.
So I am hearing more artifacts on this one than with the Apple loops, just because it's pulling that from like a soft, not very well recorded vocal. But I'm blown away. It's got almost all the words right. I'm just hearing a little bit of the artifacting, but that's really good compared to where we started. And so I'm impressed that was able to get that as well as it did. Now I did use the stem splitter in Logic first, which is one of the best default workstation stem splitters out there. There's very few that are as good as it. There are some online that are as good or better, but in terms of ones that are included with workstations, nothing else is beating the Logic one right now. So that's cool. The other thing we could have done is actually boost up the level so it wouldn't be so soft. We could have gained it up. And it's like those are all things we could test. If we really needed to take the vocal that we have here, say we were just doing this and we're like, this has to work. It has to be good enough. Then we would experiment with gain staging up the vocal after I stem split it. Maybe EQing it, maybe doing a little bit of the pitch correction before we export it for Audimee. There are things we can do to prepare it, but if we just need a quick and dirty, like, oh, maybe this would be better with a woman singing it, then or like a gospel singer, or more of like a jazz type singer, or more of a rock or pop singer. If we just need to like experiment with those things, then it doesn't matter as much. We can just pop into Audimee, try out different voices, see what we're thinking. And then perhaps what we do is say, okay, this song is really a gospel song. Let's hire a gospel singer to do it. And it becomes part of our pre-production and songwriting rather than the expectation that this would be a fully finished thing at the end of it. So there you go. Good comments. Thanks, Shred, for being active in the comments. Yeah. What you're saying, a lot of it's super solid. So Audimee. Let's talk about your favorite subject. Everybody on the stream, I know this is your favorite subject. This is the one time that I actually lobby for the pay structure that a company has. And it's against what most people say. I make enough videos. I get enough comments. I know how almost everybody feels about subscription models, right? Raise your hand if you're like, yeah, I love subscription models. Let's get some more subscription models in our life. Raise your hand if that was what you were thinking, right? No, of course not. It's like, it was bad enough when I was younger and we had to pay for cable or satellite, and you would pay all this money every month and watch like 4 of the channels that you got. That was lame. It was a subscription model. I mean, it's no different. Monthly fee every month to get that thing. And they could raise it up at the end of your year's contract or whatever. And they did every time. And then we had all this promise of like, well, let's do this online with streaming. You can pick and choose what you want. And now we're just back to the same thing. You got to pay for, Netflix or whatever. You have to pay for this or that to get, and they give you way more thinking that you're going to feel like it's worth it, even though the amount of what you're actually watching is probably a small fraction of it, right? Logic Pro has this issue coming up. The new Creator Studio is a subscription-only model, and they are saying that Logic will have a standalone version, and the fine print on the press release and other places indicates supposedly that Logic is not going to be one of the ones that's different from the subscription model to the standalone model. There's going to be no additional content that you get from the Creator Studio for Logic Pro, is what they're suggesting. We'll find out for sure if that's really the case next week, but that's what it looks like as of now. That means you can just get Logic Pro. You don't have to worry about the subscription model missing out on things. It does appear in the fine print that the subscription model does require Silicon Mac, but the standalone still can work on the Intels for now, although the writing is on the wall for that as well. Anyway, long story short, subscription models, complex, controversial, and for your main software, I find it problematic. I wouldn't want my main software to be a subscription model. What happens if it's happened in the past? What happens if I get my new, credit card or debit card in the mail and I put it on the counter and then forget about it, right? Never activated, never changed any of my services with the new expiration dates, and all of a sudden, one by one, things start to fall. It's only happened once in my life, but I remember it well. And so I hate the thought that you could do that and all of a sudden you don't have access to any of your stuff for a little bit. That's lame. The reason why I'm talking about that and this is because Audimee is not a service that I would rely on for every one of my projects. It doesn't tie in, it doesn't load up as a plugin. It's a separate thing, which means you could all use this. You can just do like the $12 for a month, get in the exports and conversions and the harmonies and the vocal tuning and replacement that you want, and then just say, you know what, that's good. Or you can say, you know what, I need this every month, and you can do the subscription for it. And so I like that this is one of those tools that it's like I can use as I need. I don't need to have it active all the time, but if it's easy just to turn on for a month and then let it go. Logic is not the same. I use Logic every day of the entire year. I hate the thought of like renting to never own. You know what I mean? It's like I have a house and I'm paying my monthly payments to the bank who has my mortgage. There's light at the end of the tunnel, that at the end of all of that, the house will be mine. If you have a software subscription, there's never a moment that you'll ever own it or have it fully. Let me catch us up with some comments. Samuel says, if the update cycle of the apps remain at the slow pace they currently have, the subscription thing makes, and I've talked about that many times on this channel. I feel that way already about the iPad version, which has been subscription since they released it. What was that, like a year and a half, 2 years ago or something? And they've given us like 2 updates on it, 2 significant updates on it. Like, what the absolute heck? Why? I don't feel like, for instance, Apple and Audimee, different companies, but they're giving us new content all the time. They should be hungry like Audimee is. That's why sometimes I talk about these companies that are like this, that are really focused on what they do and have like an amazing product, because I feel like I wish Logic Pro was owned by a company like that. A company who is like, you know what? How can we give more content to our customers this week? I mean, we have an update coming to Logic next week. But it has been forever. It's been like since May of 2025 since a significant, still small update came to Logic. And now we're in like almost February 2026. We're like just months away from that year mark, and they gave us a couple bug fix updates along the way. I mean, I would love to think that Apple's like, yeah, Creator Studio, let's do this. But say they have this internal number, right? They're like, well, if the Creator Studio subscription base is at this level, then we'll commit all these resources. Well, people hate subscription stuff. So it's going to come in under that. And all of a sudden they're going to be like, well, people don't want this stuff. Let's stop supporting it. Let's stop building it. I mean, it's a really dicey thing to put in future investment of a product based on a model that is widely recognized as being one that people openly talk about not liking. That all scares me to a certain degree. This is not the beta. First of all, you'll never see the beta of anything Logic related in advance. If you did, whoever was showing it or released it would be getting a certain letter in the mail from the attorneys at Apple, and it would be a really sad day for their bank accounts. Those non-disclosure agreements that they sign are pretty tight, and it's a pretty good group of people who don't want to spread that around. So you'll never see the beta of those. They don't like showing the betas. They don't like showing anything in advance. So not the beta. I'm not even on the beta team. I might have been for one day at one point, but another story for a different day. And then Samuel says, I've fed Apple with way past 400 plus issues with Logic Pro for iPad, which remain unfixed. Yes, exactly. Like, what the heck? I don't know what's going on over there. That clearly something is happening with this whole process. It's not great. Yeah. So tools like this, like Audimee, again, I bring it up mostly because I'm thinking, how do we surround ourselves with other tools that help us get the most out of our Logic library? Maybe that's the wrong approach. Maybe the approach needs to be, gosh, they give us a lot of crap mixed in with some good things. Is Logic really the right program for you to use? That's a question for yourself. Every program, it feels like these days, have some sort of bloat and things that you're not going to use. In our case, you can uninstall the sound library. You don't have to install all of those loops. There's nothing requiring you to do it. And if you don't want to, that's great. On the other hand, you could, if you have enough hard drive space, just download everything and then learn how to repurpose some of it. Use something like Audimee for the vocals to give it new life, a new voice. Like I said, there's two other things about Audimee in the near future I want to talk about because I'm nerding out about it a little bit. I don't know yet if this will be a tool that I incorporate into my life all the time, but I really do like the parts that I've gotten to know and use so far. And for me, that's a big deal to have a tool that you feel like, okay, that's bringing some value to what I'm doing. The other two, of course, the harmony function. There's a whole make harmonies option here. And so I'm going to probably do a standalone video, not on a live stream about that, just because with my album project I'm working on, I think there's a couple places that this would have been nice to use during that process. And so I'll showcase that. It does have a stem splitter. It says it's in beta. It's a simple one. It's not doing more than what Logic Pro does, that's for sure. And so I doubt that I'll be using this, but if you didn't have access, then this could be one to try. But the other one is the My Voices option. And so I love the ability to here's something that I was thinking about with the my voices. If I were to upload all of like a bunch of my own vocals to this, and it would create my own voice, that could be interesting. It means that maybe I could continue to make songs long past my voice, functioning. The one thing that some of you probably are aware of, and others of you need to, you'll get the keen awareness of at some point, is your own mortality, right? There will be a time when we all die and turn into the dust of the earth, and so that's something to think about. Wouldn't it be cool to leave your voice behind for your posterity, and maybe you'll have a musician offspring at some point, and they'll want to do duets with you as well. Who knows? We'll see. Haha, Apple tax includes ambient oxygen costs. You're funny. I like that. Chroma says Logic is being left behind in the dust compared to Ableton. Even Fender Pro is coming out with more useful features. So disappointing. So there's a leapfrogging effect. A lot of Ableton's newer features, not all of them, they've done some really cool things and really innovative things. But a lot of Ableton's most recent, like say last 2 years of features, have included things that Logic has already had. These workstations are slowly creeping towards each other. And that's not a bad thing. I think competition's good. I think same features, different skin approach is okay, because it means you can work in Ableton if that makes the most sense to your brain and accomplish everything you need to do, or work in Logic and do the things you need to do. I actually don't think that any of the workstations are really taking the lead right this moment, because at some point we've seen, Logic will probably do a little leapfrog over some of the others, and then it'll be ahead, and everyone will be like, oh, why is Fender Studio never done anything since they did their new amps when Fender rebranded? It's been like so long. And their team is just like, Fender told us to keep this in budget, and we can't do anything cool and maintain our budget until we start selling more. I mean, money drives all of this stuff. And then stock plugin oversampling is a must in the future. Yeah, I'm always surprised when that comes up and it's not there already. Anyway, this is a good time to maybe pull the plug on this stream. I hope looking at other tools to help us with Logic is a useful discussion. I hope looking at Audimee a little bit gets you inspired. Like I said, we're going to maybe do 1 or 2 more of these type of, not streams, but videos, because I really do want to showcase the harmonies thing. I think that's one of the bright stars of Audimee that not everybody's doing. And it's cool. But let's pull the plug on the stream. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you all in a future one. We'll be doing more content this week, getting ready for the update next week, and then a bunch of content on the actual update day next week. And then we'll go from there. Talk to you later.